Hello everyone. Welcome to Blinkwise. Today, I want to talk about a concept that can transform the way we approach our daily routines, build better habits, and ultimately lead more efficient, fulfilling lives. It's called the law of least effort. Simply put, human behavior naturally follows the path that requires the least amount of work. While this might sound like laziness, it's actually a deeply intelligent survival mechanism, our brain's way of conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary friction. Let me start with a striking example shared by Jared Diamond in his award-winning book Guns, Germs, and Steel. Diamond observed that the continents of the world differ in shape. The Americas and Africa stretch from north to south, while Europe and Asia run more east to west. This geographical shape mattered more than you'd think. Because areas on the same latitude share similar climates, it was much easier for agriculture to spread east-west than north-south. As a result, crops, people, and ideas spread faster across Europe and Asia. This small difference compounded over centuries and led to massive disparities in development. This shows us that even centuries ago, behavior, on a global scale, was shaped by effort. People didn't necessarily choose the easier path because they lacked motivation. They chose it because it worked with, not against, the environment. This principle applies just as much to us today. When faced with two options, we will almost always choose the one that requires the least amount of effort. And this is not a flaw, this is strategy. Energy is precious. And because of that, we are wired to conserve it. Think of your habits. The ones you repeat the most, scrolling on your phone, watching Netflix, or checking email, are also the ones that require very little effort. That's why they happen so often, almost without thinking. Now, let's flip the script. Think of the healthy habits we want to build: exercising, eating healthy, journaling, meditating. These often don't stick because they feel hard. The reason? Friction. Friction is anything that stands between you and a good habit. It could be driving 10 minutes to the gym, or having to chop vegetables before you can cook a healthy meal. The more friction, the more energy you need to start, and the less likely you are to follow through. So what's the solution? Make the right habits easier. Take away the bend in the hose, so to speak, and let the water, or in this case, your good intentions, flow freely. Instead of trying to push harder through willpower, design your environment to support your goals. Want to eat healthier? Wash and prep your fruits and vegetables on Sunday so they're ready during the week. Want to work out more? Lay out your clothes and shoes the night before. Want to draw or write more? Keep your tools visible and within reach. When you reduce the effort required to start, you increase the chances that the habit will happen. And this applies not just to good habits, but to breaking bad ones too. Let's say you want to watch less TV. One way to increase friction is to unplug the TV after use or put the remote in a drawer. Even adding a 10-second delay can make a difference. Or if you want to stop checking your phone first thing in the morning, leave it in another room overnight. That extra walk might be all it takes to break the cycle. The key here is environment design. If the gym is on your way to work, you're more likely to stop by. But if it's out of your way, even by a few blocks, it suddenly feels like a chore. Make your environment work for you, not against you. Businesses have mastered this principle. Think about why we use services like food delivery apps or ride-sharing. It's not because we're lazy. It's because they remove friction. They save time, reduce steps, and simplify our lives. The easier something is, the more likely it becomes a habit. Even governments use this. When the British tax system reduced just one click between users and the form they needed to complete, response rates jumped significantly. That one small change made millions in revenue difference. So how can we apply this in our own lives? One great strategy is something called priming your environment. A man named Oswald Nichols put it brilliantly. He resets each room after using it. After watching TV, he fluffs the pillows, folds the blanket, and puts the remote back. It's not just about cleanliness, it's about preparation. The next time he enters that room, It's ready to support the action he wants to take. You can do the same. If you want to eat healthy, set your kitchen up for success. If you want to write, make sure your desk is clean and your notebook is open. And if you want to avoid distractions, remove them ahead of time. Make the right thing the easy thing. In summary, here are the key takeaways. Times human behavior follows the law of least effort. We gravitate toward easier options. Times reduce the friction of good behaviors to make them automatic. Times increase the friction of bad behaviors to make them harder to repeat. Times design your environment to support what you really want, not just what's convenient in the moment. Times prime your spaces so that each room, each tool, each step is one less barrier between you and your best self. Let me end with a simple but powerful question we should all ask ourselves. How can I design a world where doing the right thing is the easiest thing? Thank you.